Aroundsquare. I'm going to do a little drop video for our March 2024 product launch. It's happening earlier this month than usual. It's because I'm going away at the end of March. Have a little holiday for the first time since like COVID, so that'll be rad. But yeah, I'm going to get all my ducks in a row before we go, and going to try and make this one shorter than last month. I think it'll be a little bit quicker to discuss these things, but we got still a lot of interesting stuff here. I'm going to start with these guys that I've got in my hand here, I think. What this is a set of you can call them MKUltras, but it's inspired by a couple of videos I saw circulating of Turkish worry bead flippers. And so I kind of, I really liked the style of flipping in those videos, and I set about setting up a little set that I could make using our own materials here that had kind of the configuration, slightly similar structure to those ones that I saw. They tend to have this longer like guru bead or whatever. So I did a string of snake knots, and like, forgive the nasty looking cord here. I made the mistake of using the natty cord and it got a little bit grimy, but yeah, anyways. So I've been really enjoying these. They're like refreshing to flip. There's not as much that I'm able to do with them compared to like the longer MKUltras or like a set of Bugleri. I would position the flipping style sort of in between like a short game Bugleri and a Chetki. Like a lot of the moves that I'm doing are borrowed from either short game or Chetki, but it's asymmetrical, which makes it really kind of interesting to flip. I like the texture of the cord. I've actually contemplated doing a set of Bugleri with just this as a joiner. But yeah, it's got a lot of grip to it, a lot of texture. And if you don't like rough texture, then this isn't going to be for you, because it is rough on the fingers. It's got lots of grip, but I quite enjoy it. It's just like a very different flipping experience than what I'm used to with all of the smooth paracord and whatnot. But yeah, if this tickles your fancy, then give it a shot. I wasn't originally like aiming to tease like this as a product. I wasn't really planning to sell it, because it's frankly a pain in the butt to string up with all of the knots. But there was a lot of interest when I posted a little video of myself playing these, and I saw even a number of players that have 6mm MKUltra sets that cannibalized them and strung them up in roughly similar configuration just to try it out, because they were also really curious. I thought, oh, well, let's do it just as a chef special. No commitment to doing it in the future. And we're not going to have a ton of inventory because they are like very time consuming to string up. But yeah, we'll have a few, and we have different colors of the 6mm beads. So here's an example of a set that's been done up in the peacock cord, and they've got a natty tie 8mm and a 15mm here. They all have 33 6mm beads. This one here plays a little bit more difficult for me compared to the set that I've been using, because the string of snake knots will stretch out over time a little bit. So it makes it like actually a little bit elastic when you're flipping it, which is kind of fun and interesting as well. Anyways, yeah, if you're into these guys, give them a crack. I can't promise that we're not going to sell out of these, just because it really is like, it's up to how much time we have here. I've got one of our guys stringing them all up, and he's probably going cross-eyed. I don't want to work him too hard making too many sets of these. So Jason, you're the man, and let's see what you can get done before the product launch. All right. So moving on here, I've been talking about MKUltra, flipping these around for a long time, and so I'm going to move over and talk about something different. And I think people are going to be excited by this. There's actually technically a restock, but it's like they've been out of stock for so long that it's almost like a new product coming in. These are our exotic deadeye coins, and they turned out absolutely beautifully. I couldn't be happier. This is zircuti with a thick grain, and you can see lots of color contrast in these guys. And the grain is not super wavy. So actually what we ended up having the supplier do, we tried a bunch of different billets and picked the two that we liked the best. So we have two different styles of zircuti here. This one has very fine grain and really like a lot of kind of topographic map looking lines, lots of kind of swirly kind of wavy bits. And then the straighter line, higher contrast variety here. So pick your poison. They're both absolutely beautiful. Great weight. It's very similar to titanium, just a touch heavier, I believe. Then we also have Mokumegane, which has a weight similar to copper and brass. So nice and heavy here. Good heft to it. And we have also Zirc, which is a little bit heavier than the titanium and lighter than the stainless steel. And it's just got that beautiful kind of deep black looking color. So these are brilliant just as like worry stone or something to slip in the fifth pocket there. Just kind of flip it around a little bit through the day. Or if you actually want to get into like learning tricks and isolations in that contact coin style, these all have a nice weight for that. All right. Then moving on, we decided, since we were doing a new batch of these, we thought, why not try doing some wearables? We've never done wearables in the exotics before. I thought now's a great time to do it. So we've got, this is the Zircutai wearable. The large wearable like this, it plays very similarly to the standard deadeye. Just you feel that little hole in the middle, but it doesn't affect the play at all. And so if you want something that you can wear and also take it off to play with, this is a great little piece, and they're turned out beautifully. We also decided while we're at it, let's open it up, use some of the other materials, and do some smaller coins. So here's the small in the Zircutai. And with this size, the weight is great for the other materials as well. So we've got Zirc here and Mokumegane. And I've just strung them up on whatever 2mm Kevlar cord here for now. We might end up shipping them on the waxed cotton like we do our other deadeye wearables, or we might use the Kevlar, but no promises about what colors or anything. All that info will be in the product descriptions and the product photos when we finally ship them, or when we finally do the product launch. All right, so moving on, let's go back to the MKUltras here. We've got some ultem again this month. These are the commons beads in ultem, and the commons is just such an awesome shape and so like classic, timeless in appearance. Kind of have to do them in pretty much every material that we sell. And I have to apologize. The ultem stuff in particular has been selling out like really fast for the past few months. Basically since we started selling ultem, that's been one of the things that people have been frustrated about missing out on during the product launches. Sorry for that, guys. I always intended to have that like hour-long drop time where you have the password access, and if you're an email subscriber, you get that password. You can get in there and get what you want before the site is kind of goes public and everybody else comes in. I haven't really managed the inventory very well the past like 6 months, maybe even a year, and it's been like pretty common for stuff to sell out even like in the first few minutes in some cases with certain things. And I know that's frustrating for people. It's never something that I wanted to do. I know some people who run websites, they thrive on that, right? Like everything sells out and there's like this huge hype and everybody's like getting in there with the fear of missing out. That's not what I wanted to do with our website at all. I'm trying to build a community around this stuff, and I don't want to limit the supply of it. The challenge for me is just like, we got so many products in our product line right now. We have like physical limitations on space, and then also like just the constraint of how much inventory we can have, like how much money we can have tied up in our inventory. So I'm always like doing this guessing game of like, I launch a new material or I launch a new product type or shape or whatever. I don't know how popular it's going to be. And I tend to be kind of conservative there. And in the case of the ultem stuff, I ended up being way too conservative. And these beads, unfortunately, are not an exception to that. The commons beads are probably going to sell out pretty quick, just like the previous ultem stuff. And that's this is like the last batch of stuff that I bought kind of around the same time. Going forward, we're really going to try to like kind of err on the side of like having a little bit more, particularly with I think the ultem, but also with new materials and just in general. I'm going to kind of be a little bit less conservative, a bit bolder in our inventory, and try to make that like a little bit more reliable, that you can get in there during the first hour casually without having to be there hitting refresh right at 6 o'clock drop time. Anyways, guys, this is the ultem commons long form MKUltras. So the idea here again is double wrap. You can slide this up and let it all hang out. Or if you've got the short form, I've got the polished version here, the short form, just cinch it up with a single wrap, and then you can tuck in the excess cord. And this cord is, by the way, like way longer than what anybody would really want. Probably like this is a more reasonable length. So you're not having this big dangly thing most of the time. But yeah, you can see when I'm playing these, I don't play with a ton of slack. Yeah, maybe something like this is kind of comfortable for me. So yeah, if you like the look of Ultem and you've missed out on the Milos and other beads previously, can hopefully get a set of these guys. We've got short form and long form with the machine finished and the polished finish. Machine finish slides through the fingers really easily, at least in humid climate. The polished version looks really stunning. It has a little bit more grip, which if you're playing it, or you may just really like the look because it really looks like that amber color. But yeah, you sort of, depending on what you really want to get out of the Ultras, what you use them for primarily. This is like a smoother kind of satiny feel, whereas the polished ones have more of that kind of gemstone type appearance and that grippiness that you would get from the polished surface of pretty much anything. Okay. So yeah, but one of the things I love about Ultem is just that clack. That's why I've been irritating everybody doing it throughout this video thus far. I thought I may as well address the elephant in the room, right? It's just like clack, clack, clack. That it's got like this really crisp sound because it's relatively hard material, and it's just very satisfying. All right, so that's the MKUltras. On to these guys here, which are the planks. So apologies again. I know a lot of people were frustrated they didn't get in on the titanium planks. We right away did reorder those. We ordered them in a polished finish and a sandblasted finish this time around. But I wasn't sweating too bad when I was getting the emails from folks about missing out on the tie, because I knew we had these guys in the production lineup already and they'd be ready soon. So they're ready for this month. We've got ebony wood, which I freaking love. Like I've been playing my own piece like pretty much nonstop since we got it. Just something about the natural wood. We've got them in machine finished and polished, and these are polished with a little bit of wax on them, so they're quite grippy. Machine finished is smoother between the fingers, just like what I was describing with the Ultem beads there. And similarly, the Ultem version, I mean, this one looks like a beautiful big old Jolly Rancher. Just such a nice finish. It will scratch up. It's not like super, super hard. So unless you're wrapping it in microfiber and babying it, it's going to scratch up eventually, and it might end up looking more like this guy. The machine finished, again, like just a smoother feel. This one has more grip when you're rolling it between the fingers. All right. So the planks are an interesting thing. You know, they're quite compelling for me, partly because they're just like not great as a skill toy. So it makes my fingers kind of curious to like figure out what I can do with them and find ways to kind of keep moving without any kind of complexity. So it's just like very simple manipulation. And lots of times I'm just like holding it in my hand or rubbing it with my thumb, especially with these ebony ones, because they've got a little bit of grain to them. And so I find just like running my thumb back and forth on them, you feel that texture, and it's kind of a nice, satisfying feel. And what I've noticed is like often I'll end up just kind of like pressing one of the corners into my thumb or into the base of my hand or something, and it just gives that like extra little bit of sensation if I feel like I need it, which is it's kind of a weird thing. I've never kind of done that with any of the other products that we have, but it's a kind of a neat little feature of these guys that I've noticed, and it just I've noticed that it actually kind of helps with my level of alertness for some reason. And I don't know, your mileage may vary, as I always say, but yeah, it's a kind of, I noticed myself doing that like unconsciously while I was driving back along the highway like late last weekend. I was late at night, everybody was asleep in the car, and I never play with Bugleri or anything, not doing tricks with anything while I'm driving, and please don't. but I do like periodically pick something up and just like have it in my hand. And I found myself kind of just like using the corners, like working the corners into my hand. I'm like, that was not weird, but it was like, it was just kind of a natural response to like everybody else in the car being drowsy. And here I was like in the dark with the monotony of the highway and like needing that extra little bit of sensation and provided by the corners, which, you know, I can't make any claims about it. And yeah, don't trust me on anything, but it's just my own personal experience. I found that kind of an interesting little observation with the planks that I thought I would share. All right. Last little piece here that I want to share for this month's product launch is these guys here at long last. So I'm super pumped to finally be able to share our Footbag, and I finally feel good about sharing our Footbag project. Some of you know that we have been on this for a long time. Around this time last year, probably, I was like all excitedly posting photos that we had received our production batch of these guys. We had them in turquoise and whatever, like, and I just like over the course of about 3 days became increasingly deflated, right? As I realized the production batch was crap. Like, honestly, it was garbage. None of them were even close to round. Like, this was like one of the best ones that I could find. But it had all of these like weird puckers and like things like jutting out, and the pieces that were supposed to be square were all like trapezoids, and the triangles, like, it's just like it was garbage. So we had to like completely abandon that effort and start all over. Went to a completely different location, facility. Went from machine made to hand stitched, which is these guys. Consulted a couple of friends of mine in the community, and I want to give a big shout out to Nick and Adam, who sent me, like, these are both like really excellent Footbag, what do you call them, Footbag pros? I don't know, like just like real experts. I've seen them both, and they've been doing Footbag for a long time. They're both really great to the level of like stitching their own bags. And so they both did this like 16 panel design. The one from Nick was like a bit smaller, one from Adam was a bit bigger. And they gave me some advice on kind of weight, size, stitching, got pointed to some tutorials that they had done, that sort of thing. We ended up even going smaller than the smallest one that I had done, partly because I wanted to differentiate these from other stuff that's out there, but partly because I really wanted them to be pocket friendly so that you could throw it in your pocket and not have it take up a bunch of space. And I realized that you can actually, like, you know, something like this, it actually performs like pretty darn good. Especially after you break it in. Here's my own kind of go-to piece that I carry around a lot. You can see it's like really supple now, and it's like really broken in, stretched out probably 20-30% compared to the original size. And it, you know, as it stretches out, it becomes even more like easy to flatten out and stall. So, you know, I'm not very good with the Footbag, frankly. But I've been getting better and better, and I've been putting a lot of time into it, really enjoying just that different kind of activity. Like, it, you know, there's a high level of skill with it, but it's not using your hands, and it's like way more exertion physically than playing Bugleri or something like that. Like, you can actually work up a decent sweat kicking the Footbag around, like probably even more than, for me, even more than going for a jog. Like, if I'm putting 20 minutes into to Footbag, it's probably sweating more than I would be running a 5K in the same time. But you know, it just might be because I suck with it, and I'm down on the ground picking it up a lot. But anyways, yeah. So we went small, partly because of the stretch, partly because we wanted to differentiate it. I want to tell a little bit of the background to why I did this product. Mainly, like, the biggest differentiator is that these are leather. So in the like pro Footbag community, pretty much everybody is using synthetic leathers, which is great. They're probably better. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not one to take advice from on this stuff. If the pros are all using them, they're probably better. And you can pick them up for cheap. So like, there's not like, why would I do something like this? Well, because I love natural materials, and when I get my mind like hooked on something, I get pretty dogged with it, and I just go for it, and I searched and searched and searched for an actual leather foot bag. Maybe it was like partly nostalgia. This is one of the ones that I had from childhood. This is like a genuine 1980s pigskin foot bag, hacky sack. You can see I did a little surgery on it to remove some of the poofiness from it. It's super light, and it was like very round and just full of these like little plastic pellets. And I always found it really hard to play, to be honest. So I wanted to surpass this, and I hope I've done that. But yeah, like I searched around everywhere online for a genuine leather foot bag, and I couldn't find one. There were like references to it was like a brand collaboration with some kind of luxury brand. I had seen one that was genuine leather, but it had been discontinued. You couldn't buy it anymore. And it was like $75 or something anyways. I eventually did find on some juggling website some foot bags that were claiming to be genuine leather. They had 3 different models, and I bought 3 of them. They arrived, they probably were leather, but they certainly didn't look it, and they didn't feel it. It was like they were like red and kind of plasticky color, feel to them. And they were like a really weird texture, like kind of crunchy. And so I actually, like, to see what the heck was going on with these things, I actually cut one of them open. And inside there was, I'm not even kidding, there was like a plastic bag that was filled with what looked like chunks of concrete. It wasn't like rocks, and it was like the weirdest thing. Anyways, so that was like the kicker, if you'll forgive the awesome pun that I just made. That was the kicker to like actually go and like start down the road of getting my own foot bags made. So we went with that 16 panel design, nice and small, which like not only is it pocket friendly, but some of the advantages, like Nick was telling me, like part of the advantage of going small with a foot bag is that once you get into technical tricks where you're like stalling it and like whipping your foot around it and this kind of thing, you're less likely to clip it with your foot or your pant leg or something compared to this like monstrosity here, right? Yeah, so we went small. Decided that these are like nice enough, and I have enough of them, that what I would do is also sell them in 3-packs, because I always liked juggling when I was a kid, and I never got particularly good with it. I could do like, some boxes and like cascades and whatever, but yeah, like selling them in 3-packs would be a nice little way to add pocket-friendly juggling into the mix, because there aren't really any pocket-friendly juggling props. Like juggling balls tend to be bigger, and even like the squishy ones are like bigger. If you get bean bags, they're also bigger. These guys, on the other hand, you can actually fit 3 of them comfortably in your pocket, and don't even have a ton of weight to them. So for those of you who are interested in getting into juggling and want some like nice quality genuine leather juggling balls, yeah, it's an option for you as well. All right, guys. Just about it there. One other thing I want to talk about, which is since we were restocking some exotics in the deadeyes, we're also doing that in the mini sigmas. Okay, so we got here the Mokutai mini sigmas on silk cord. This is our long form set. We have also short form sets again on the silk. And while we're at it, for good measure, we got the super lightweight Mokutai 3-stack mini sigma Bugleri as well. All right, so got lots to choose from this month. Yeah, it's a bit of a different one. It seems like some of our core stuff, like Bugleri and Knucklebones, we don't have anything new for you this month, but this year's going to be kind of like that. We got like some months a flood of stuff, and some months it's just like all over different kinds of products and whatever, but should be lots of fun. So anyways, thanks for bearing with me, and yeah, if there's any questions, just hit me up online. Yeah. Bye.